Hey, what up Airsofters? This is Andrew live from Quad, and today I want to talk about this really fascinating subject, the range for airsoft guns. You know, like every time I go to a field, I would hear people talking about like, my sniper rifle shoots an effective range of 100 meters. And I'm like, that's really far. Or some people would say that, oh, my gun only has an effective range of 50 meters. So who is true and what is not? I think that's the really fascinating part. I did some research online and then I looked through different websites, YouTube, different firms. Yeah, for some reason, just the most of the range test doesn't really satisfy me. This idea came to me, I was like, since I'm running my own channel now, why don't I just run my own test? That would be pretty interesting. The first thing that came to me was momentum, because momentum matters, right? That's what causes the BBs to travel far or less, and different weights of BB matters a lot. And that's the first thing I want to test out. The good way to explain what momentum really is, it's momentum is the product P, and it equals to the object's mass times velocity. So we figure like the best way to really present this would be using like balls and then like throwing it at some like object to see if it actually breaks things. We started with the ping pong ball. The ping pong ball is so light, it doesn't carry much momentum. So despite the fact that I threw it so hard, it just doesn't break anything. It causes less damage. However, once we switch to a baseball, this thing definitely has much more momentum and much more speed. And for this case, it definitely broke the board. Last but not the least, we also got this really heavy like workout ball. And then once we throw it, you know, that thing definitely causes a lot more damage. So I wonder if that's the same for airsoft. To better see momentum, I had a discussion with Brendan, and the first idea that came to us was shoot some balloons, because you know balloons are fun to shoot and it pops easily, right? However, believe it or not, balloons are somewhat hard to shoot through, and then shooting through one, it's easy. However, shooting through a bunch, it becomes really hard. It's kind of hard to tell like different weights of BB with like different kinds of effect. It's just not as easy. We had another discussion. We figured use foam boards, because foam boards, it's easier to cut, make it into shapes, and then a lot easier to hold in place. So later that day, we went to this store and we bought some foam boards and we started making the momentum visualizer. Now it's just a foam board holder.
What we do here is go back.
We're excited to see like the final result for that, and then by using different weights of BBs and see how many boards that these things can shoot through. I was really surprised that at close range, the result of a 0.4 gram BB was identical to a 0.2 gram BBs. From slow motion, 0.2 and 0.4 gram BBs both shot through 12 pieces of foam boards. And based on our calculation, their mass times the speed got us the momentum. And they are somehow close to each other. But the difference starts to show at the range of 5 meters. This time, we test out the 0.4 gram BBs first. You gotta say, like, aiming a target that small from this distance, it's a little challenging. Let's check the slow motion again. At the range of 5 meters, 0.4 grams can shoot through 10 boards. But on the other side, 0.2 grams can only shoot through 8 boards. So does this mean that for close range, just use the light BBs, and then for the long ranges, use the heavier BBs? Range test time. The original idea was to use Brendan as the target man, because you know Brendan, he's kind of tall and size-wise it's pretty ideal. And the best part about it is that he can feel the hits. He would know exactly where it hit it. it turned out using Brendan as a target man wasn't a really good idea.
Dude, bro, you alright?
We need another target man.
Like the head is pretty strong, despite the fact that yeah, it's kind of soft, but we can kind of hang it.
You might be asking like, what's the color tape for Jimmy? The color tape actually each distance weighs 5 centimeters, so that way it becomes easier for us to do the calculation when we try to mark the BBs.
It'll work. Okay, guess I will set a gun right here, and then for the supporting clamp, set it right behind.
So I guess we're just too poor that we're using our homemade range finder. But yeah, basically it's just like the rest of the range finders.
Pause. I want to talk about the grade before we start the test. The grading is really simple. We got our grading out of 11 points. The distance is divided into 11 parts, starting from 10 meters, 20 meters, 25 meters, 30 meters, 35 meters, 40 meters, 45 meters, 50 meters, 55 meters, 60 meters, then finally 70 meters. And we will use these stickers as BB hit marks. At each distance, we will fire 5 shots. If we shot the Jimmy more than 3 times, we will call it effective. We will stop if Jimmy was hit less than 3 times, and we give the score at where it stops. Each time we change the weight of BB, we will readjust the hop up to shoot level.
Did you film that?
The silver line on Jimmy will be the standard. The gun needs to hit within the silver line on Jimmy at the range of 20 meters. This is currently the best way to make sure that the BBs are flying leveled.
We fired quite a few hundred rounds here, and let's take a look at all these guys. So yeah, once again, let's head back to the lab and then see the final result.
Okay, let's turn the actual hit marks into the digital version. Let's take a look at the graph. As you can see that we already got it turned into a digital one. However, you will see an orange bar right in the middle. That is actually the silver bar that's shown on Jimmy. And coming up next is the color bar, because we want the graph to be as readable as possible. This is the kind of color that BOS actually uses on their weighted BBs. As you can see that there are a lot of hit marks landed on there, and you just go with the color. So if you see the purple ones, that's a 0.2. You see the yellow ones, that's a 0.23. Each circle that has a number inside, the number represents how far it is. Say if you see this purple circle that has a 25 written inside, that means that's a 0.2 gram hitting the 25 meter range. For the super icon, you will see the triangle marks instead of the circle marks. Pretty messy, isn't it? But check it out once we separate the graph by color though. We can see how each weight of the BB lands on the target at each distance. Starting with the lighter BBs, we can see that 0.2 gram and 0.23 gram both ended at the range of 40 meters. And the effective range is somewhere around 30 to 40 meters. Talking about the 0.5 though, the result is roughly the same. However, the effective range did extend a bit from 30 meters to 45 meters. Group-wise, 0.2 has the worst grouping and 0.23 and 0.25 has a similar grouping. This is the part we start to see a difference. From 0.28 gram to 0.32 gram, the grouping gets tightened quite a bit, especially from range 10 meters to 30 meters, and the effective range extended to 50 meters. Finally, when it comes to the heavyweight BBs, we can see the grouping gets even better. However, the effective range does stop at the range of 50 meters.
8 points for the ICS Sig 552. Really not bad for a stock gun. However, we're not done yet.
Check out the sickest part of this video, the trajectory graph, which might suggest which BB would be ideal to use based on your choice. I'm so proud of this. Based on the final result, we can get a very clear picture of how each weight of the BB travels till it drops. When we adjust the hop out for the BBs to fly level, you can see that at the range of 20 meters, they all landed in the silver bar on Jimmy. However, during the test, we did run into some hop out malfunctions during the 0.23 and 0.3 gram test. The BB starts to drop and we had to take it down, readjust it, and making sure that the gun is functioning right. And that could be the whole reason why we are getting such a weird trajectory graph on these two BBs. So this tells us something that you gotta make sure you clean your guns, do the maintenance, otherwise at some important moments it will fail on you. And that's something that we don't want. And however, that once we compare all the trajectory graphs together, we can conclude that 0.4 gram BBs has the best consistency and which could give you the most predictable shots.
Hey, thank you guys for watching this episode. We hope you loved it because we certainly did. It was a lot of fun making the foam board holders and also like doing experiments, finding out things I didn't know about. And yeah, just in case if you need like all the detailed data, we just click on the link down below. It will link you through our Facebook fan page. And we created this album where you can find all the detailed data in there, something that we're really proud of. And last but not the least, for the next episode, the 20-meter accuracy test coming up next. We want to know your thoughts. Now, with your brain and with your opinion, comments, we would know how we can make the episodes even better and then with more accurate tests and things like that. So leave some comments down below. We would really, really appreciate it.